we're going to talk about if Facebook ads are still worth it, how to run it, and how to make the most out of it. And today with me, I have a Facebook ads specialist for at Hootsuite and at Espresso, and she had run ads for companies like ClickFunnels, Strategizer. So welcome to the show, welcome to the Growth Academy to Sarah Sal. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
So every time I start interviewing someone, I start from their story. And I'd like you to tell us your story, how you become a ads specialist.
I'm a computer scientist, mathematician who took a right turn and became a Facebook marketer. Let's just say the reason I studied computer science and mathematics, because I'm bad at writing, I'm bad at communication, but I kind of turned that handicap into an advantage. Because if I have clients, I need to write ad copy for them. I couldn't write copy if I have a blank page. So I used to look at their content, their webinar, ebook, etc. And each time I have an I learned something new moment, I take note and translate that into an ad. And it worked really, really well, where I helped Strategizer get nearly $750,000 in sales. And I even had companies that appeared on the Shark Tank show and helping them have better ad copy, not only turn their campaign profitable, but they had the biggest number of sales in a single day from Facebook ad, thanks to the ad copy, of course, combined with other strategies. So that's my story.
Nice. So since you talk about copy, do you think that copy is one of the most important things for ads to make them work, or it's a secondary thing?
It's an underutilized asset. And I say that because Hootsuite is the biggest company that manages free organic social media posts. Espresso is the biggest tool for managing ad outside of Facebook Ad Manager. I've seen hundreds, if not nearly 1,000 campaign, and I do often give them recommendation, and I've seen it over and over again. Ad copy make a difference. Think about it this way. People think about social media. I tell them, forget the social media. Imagine you're in a coffee shop. Marketers tend to be aggressive. Hey, do you want to get married? It doesn't work. I'll go to the next Starbucks coffee. Hey, do you want to get married? And say, oh my God, I don't have the right audience. Now, if you could have a conversation interesting enough that the person next to you turn their head and try to listen in, that's when it works. And it's the same thing in real life. Why not also on social media, including Facebook?
Makes totally sense. Yeah, makes totally sense. And when you talk about this conversation that you will have with the viewers of this ad, are you talking about the text, the copy that you're going to put on the ad, or are you talking about what you're going to talk about in a video that you can put there?
Both.
Or you refer to everything, I guess, to everything inside that?
Everything.
All right.
Because text, the same way video, is just a medium to communicate a message. And people make the mistake, they hear that video does really well. They take a static image, turn it into a 2-second video, and they think just because the video does better. Now, if you do a video where you teach people something awesome, or you're a hotel, you're showing people the breakfast area, or you share some knowledge, of course, video is going to do well. But if you do a video for the sake of video, it doesn't do well. Right. And some people are better in writing copy than talking on a video. It depends on people's personality, so it's both.
Okay. And do you suggest to, sorry if I go randomly, but you're putting a lot of good information there, so I try to cover everything. Do you think that it's better to combine the things or just test different approaches? Like, let's assume that I want to create a new ad and I have this long text like an article that I want to put inside the ad. And at the same time, I have this video that says practically the same thing that I'm writing in the copy. Do you think I should test different approaches and add just with text and ads just with video, or should I combine the different things all together to make it work better?
Try both of them and let the user vote with their mouse. It's impossible to say text is going to do better. It's impossible to say video. And some people speak on video, they have an amazing personality. People cannot force but to watch them. And other people on video, they're gonna send you to a deep coma sleep. It's not going to work. So if you feel like doing both, do them, spend equal amount of money. The one that is doing better, put more money behind it. The one that is doing less well, pause it.
Yeah, totally. And so you don't agree with the affirmation that we hear over and over that videos work a lot better than text on Facebook?
I've seen cases where it worked better, and I've seen cases where it didn't work better. And the problem with saying it worked better, people kind of force it, like the video add no value. They just do it because they think, like Mark Zuckerberg say, oh, video, give 30% discount. It's not the case. Video can be good at communicating a message. On my own fan page, I have text with no image that did well. I have video that did well. I have link to a blog post that did well, but you cannot generalize. And when people say, does one work better than the other? People often ask me because they run after the algorithm. They forget they're talking to a human being. Hey, does carousel work better than a single image? Does video work better than only text and image? And I'm like, caramel sauce or mustard? Which one worked better for food? Try adding caramel sauce on hot dog. Try adding mustard on an ice cream. It doesn't work well.
Yeah, you convinced me with this statement. I'm totally convinced, and I agree with you. I think that it's ridiculous to say that videos convert better than copy. I mean, if videos are so much important than copy, we shouldn't see blogs anymore, right? There are still people that are writing articles and they are just copy, and this doesn't mean that they work. They are worse than a video that is on YouTube. So it doesn't make sense to just focus on a single medium like just on video and forget all the rest. So I totally agree with you. And what do you think is the engaging part of the text? Like how should you write your text to make it engaging and to make people resonate with what you say?
I would say don't make it only claim. It's what many people do. They write an ad, and the ad is how a one-legged cat made millions and owned 20 hotels with a one weird trick. And then the next sentence is, let me ask you a question. What if you achieve your whole dream and you're rich and you never need to work? And it just claim, agitating the problem. And I learned absolutely nothing. The reason strategizer, before I worked on their ad, they would spend $1, make 40 cents. The case study I wrote for them on Ad Espresso, for that campaign, they made $18 for each $1 they spent on ad. The principle is something that comes from supermarket and the food industry, that if you scream at someone and say, hey, buy some shrimps, it's not as good as saying, hey, do you want to try this brownie? And people taking a bite and saying, wow, that chocolate with cardamom is so amazing, that people are more likely to buy. And studies show that Costco and other companies that do food tasting, the sales increase by up to 2,000%. So you want to have an ad that educates. The second thing, life is not abstract. Language is abstract. So we often fall into the trap of writing in an abstract way. Now, let's say there are two hotels, Holiday Inn, you could stay for $50 per night, Ritz-Carlton, $500 per night. Both of them say, we give you good service. What does it even mean? Now, that's an actual real story in Bali. A family had a kid that is allergic to milk or to lactose. They brought their own milk, but hey, you're traveling from the US to Bali. It's a 20-hour flight. The milk spoiled while being transported. They couldn't find that milk in Bali. One of the managers called his mother-in-law in Singapore and said, you go to the supermarket, you buy this milk, and you take today the first flight to Bali. This tells me why the Ritz-Carlton is worth $500 per night and not $50, if you have the money, of course, and you feel like spending. So that's another thing I would tell. The other thing, teach me something I don't know, because people don't know you. Otherwise, it's just me making claim for the sake of claim. If you read something and you have an aha moment, it's going to work much better. I give you an example. I have a client that sells software to veterinary clinic. It's a very tight niche, and I've been running the ads for 2 years. If I just said, grow your practice, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe after a while it stopped working. Instead, I tell them, people bring their cat, their dog, on average every 13 months to a veterinary clinic. But this clinic used email marketing, newsletter. They educate the market. Hey, it's winter. Maybe your dog or cat need to have a flu vaccine or be checked for diabetes. And because of that, the same client used to bring their cat or dog every 4 months. Mm-hmm. That's a 15% growth year by year. In 5 years, they doubled in size. This makes it more likely that people are trusting me, click on the ad, instead of people who just claim, hey, I could help you grow your clinic. Because even people who never worked in the veterinary industry, they're going to claim they could help you. The other thing, eliminate the guesswork about the benefit. Let's say I'm a restaurant. I would say, let's say I train people to become chef. I'd normally say, this is a course for inspiring chefs who want to learn to cook. It doesn't tell me why I should choose you and not choose 50 other culinary schools. Ad is about disqualifying the competition. Now, if you said 90% of our students end up working for a 5-star hotel or a Michelin star restaurant within 2 years of graduating, it tells me why I want to choose your restaurant of another one. And lastly, a good ad does not look like an ad. I mean, 30% of internet users use ad blockers. So often you scroll down your newsfeed, you see an ad, you're like, hey, I'm going to ignore. But if you provide value first, they tend to work better, because people don't say, oh God, to hell, another ad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you said previously, you have to always remember that you're talking to a real human being. You're not talking to a machine, you're talking to another person. And to make this person read your copy or watch your video, you have to give something that is valuable. You can't just promote and nothing else. It's not Facebook is done for this, to create connection between people. It's not to sell, just selling. So you need to create this relationship first. You have to talk to a person to keep the other person in account and think that there is another person on the other side of the screen, and then talk like you're talking to a person. Even if you're on Facebook, think that you're talking to a person. So I totally agree with that, and it's something that who is using Facebook ads should never forget. And I assume that you're using Facebook ads for different reasons. I think that you're using Facebook ads to sell products, to sell services. What are the goals that you suggest to use Facebook ads for? Like selling something, get followers, grow the followers for your page, or get leads to your email list. What do you suggest I should use Facebook ads for?
You want to amplify what's working outside of Facebook. Often I see people who spend $1,000 on Facebook ads with no result, and they ignore what we call the low-hanging fruit. As in, they have an email list, they have website traffic that is already converting. If you retarget those people with better content, with really good ad, you'd convert more of them. Because think about it, you send an email, a few people convert, but it often happens, you get an email, you really want to read it and open it, you get busy, 2 days later, that email is the second or third page of your Gmail.
Of course.
Now, an ad, it could be in your face the very same moment you're online. So if you send an email, that email convert. If you run ad to that very same email list, it works. Now, if you have an email autoresponder that converts into client, maybe you want to put more subscriber via Facebook ad on the top of that funnel. Something really important, like who should use Facebook ad? Not everyone should use Facebook ad, and that comes to another question you asked. If I'm a food stall that sells green curry and it's cold outside, you walk in front of it and the smell is amazing, you don't need Facebook ad because Facebook ad cannot compete with the smell of fresh green curry. Now, there are businesses, if somebody say, hey, I need to get divorced, you're going to type into Google, divorce lawyer, because that's what you need right now. Facebook is about not about satisfying the demand, it's about creating the demand. So businesses who, two things, one, who could create the demand or create the desire to use Facebook, and people with a product that is an impulse buy. So there are products that people see it, you didn't plan to buy it, like, oh my God, that's beautiful, and you end up buying it, why not?
I see. And I think that this that you just said answer another question that I have. Like, many people use Facebook ads, they start using Facebook ads and then they stop after a few weeks because they see that they have to spend so much money, they waste so much money and they don't get results. And they realize the fact that maybe to get a lead to your email list, you have to spend, I don't know, $10, $15, $20. So a way to lower the money you're spending in Facebook ads getting results is to focusing on warm audience, or do you have other suggestions to lower the amount of money that you spend there?
One is focus on warm audience. Two is grow your warm audience list, because if you only focus on cold audiences, maybe you sell a product for $15, your cost per sale is $10. Facebook did grow like crazy. They used to have 1 million advertisers, then 2, then 4, then 7. Ad cost is only going to get higher and higher. So if your margin is only $5 and tomorrow Facebook ad cost increase, or you get 5 times more competition, you're going to go out of business. Now, if you have a warm audience that built over time, you could stabilize yourself. If you have an email list, website traffic, blog post, useful webinar, they all work together, making each part more effective, lowering cost. I'm going to give you 3 examples actually, and it has to do with your question for targeting. I have a client that sells language courses. I will teach you a language. And he used to assume people wanted to speak Spanish fluently. He sent a survey to his list. Most people couldn't care less about speaking Spanish fluently. They just moved to Mexico or Spain. If they could order a coffee, they're happy. They couldn't care less about following political debate on TV. That was the difference between making $5,000 in a lunch and making around $20,000. But the biggest problem is people say, I've been learning Spanish for 5 years, native speakers speak, and I don't understand it. They speak so fast. Tailoring the ad, the copy, the product of that made him $80,000 when he launched a product in something like 2 weeks. It was a difference between 5 and 20 and 80. What he did differently was not that Facebook ad was cheaper. He got better at converting the audiences that see the ad and his warm audiences and matching them with what they need. Another example was a financial planner. I told her, don't send people to your sale page, jump on them on the phone, because you know what objection they have. You could answer that objection and you can change your ad. She helped people with scholarship, and she noticed most people answer the phone with single mother who couldn't afford her service. Nothing wrong with helping them, but her market was a different one. And by changing the ad copy, hey, if you and your partner make over $100,000 per year, you could get student loan at a much lower interest rate. Just changing the copy attracted a different type of people, but she wouldn't have been able if she didn't speak to people on the phone. The third example is, I will teach you a language. They were running webinar, and it was at break-even point, to the point he was willing to give up. And I showed them an example of tutorial Tuesday copy hacker, where the webinar teach, as opposed to selling his previous webinar, was, hey, do you want to speak fluent Spanish? What would it mean to you? Oh my God, I was in Argentina and people will answer me back in English. Here is a few people who speak. And somebody left a comment on the ad saying, I didn't buy because you wasted my time. I listened to you for 1 hour, I learned nothing. He changed the webinar into something where he teach people Like, hey, are you starting with past tense or the subjunctive? And I'm going to teach you, give you value for 50 minutes, and then I would pitch you for 5 minutes. He spent something like 140 British pound on that, and he made $5,000 in sales. Well, before he would spend 1,000, make 1,000. So the ad cost stayed the same, but he got way better at converting.
Of course.
Yeah.
So one thing is about trying to target a warm audience, if you have a warm audience, and use everything that is outside Facebook ads to create an audience that you can target on Facebook. Yeah. And the other thing is to find the right message that you have to put out there. You have to bring the right message to the right people. This is what you have to do. So let's get a little more technical about creating an ad. So I want you, if you can, to go through, well, you don't have to go really deep in that, or because we have just 1 hour and it's going to be a long thing. But if you have to create a new ad starting from scratch, you have to create a new ad right now. You can give me whatever example you want that you want to sell. But what would you do to create the ad from zero to run the ad?
I would try to understand the business in detail, look at their content. It's what I did for Strategizer. They didn't just say, hey, we have an event. It's an event where they sell tickets worth €2,000 to CEO of British Airways, Air France, BMW, etc. Just to say, come to my event, or oops, you forgot about the end, doesn't work. So I would look at their YouTube video, read their book, and build the desire for people. And one of the first ads I wrote for them was about the oil industry. It was last year. Over 100 oil companies went bankrupt, except Dong Energy. They went to the stock market with a $16 billion valuation. How come? When oil prices was high, they invested in alternative energy and created a new stream of income. Want to know how similar companies do it? Come to our event. So it's looking at their content and seeing what's likely to convince people if I was speaking to them face-to-face to convert. The other thing is the funnel. You never create an ad that live alone. It lives within an environment. It's like an organism that depends on many things. Like, what is the offer? People tend to be hire me now to plan your taxes quick. I'm only taking 2 clients. If people don't know you, it doesn't work. Then I tell people, don't ask for marriage at the first date. Give people value, maybe a webinar, maybe a ebook, maybe a blog post. And I did work with a client in that niche. His ad was not working. And he heard that the only thing that matters is the image. And he nearly got banned by Facebook, or maybe he got banned and opened another account. And he would try like 50 image, like if you tried 40 image and didn't work, let me try an extra 10. And he heard that cleavages work well. Cleavages got his ad banned. And saying, hey, how to pay less taxes was not convincing. In his content, he said he would ask client he needed to pay in January, if he could pay them in December, and people who needed to pay him in December, if they could pay him in January. And this reduced somebody's tax burden legally. And by having that as an ad, it worked better. But often if people are spending $1,000, it's not working. I would say it's not about tactic, it's about strategy, what you could do differently, strategically, to build the desire as a first step. I mean, instead of going from here to here, can you make the user go like this? Because that's more effective.
Nice. And then after you run the ad, you need to test, right? You need to test different versions of the ads. What would you change? What, just to make another example, what kind of tests would you do? What kind of ads would you run? What variations, I mean?
Often with variation, that's an error people make because they're so used to Google advertisement, where if you say the same thing but slightly differently, it might get you better result. On Facebook, it's not the case. Let's say I'm New York Tourism Board, to say, hey, party, we have amazing nightlife. Then the second ad, you cannot just say, party every single day of the week, because saying the same thing. Maybe the person seeing the ad is an 80-year-old person in a wheelchair that cannot dance. No, if I said, hey, we have good museum, we have good restaurant, we have good architecture, we have an amazing botanical garden. It's like making big leap in the test and not testing small thing, because why would somebody want to go to New York? Give me 10 reasons, and everybody's reason is not the same. I had a client, and she's a doctor that help people that have adrenal fatigue. And one of the ads like, hey, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is have coffee. The problem, you have it on an empty stomach. Stress hormones are going to be produced in your body and you might gain weight. But some people care about their weight. Other people care that they're having 8 hours of sleep and they're feeling tired. Other people care that they are moody all the time. Other people, you see, not everyone's going to care about the ad for the same reason. And it comes down to you're talking to human, and you might be talking to 5 different human, and not everyone's going to want to convert for the same reason. So I make bigger tests rather than just testing using the word awesome instead of the word fabulous, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. So these are the changes that you will do. And on what stats would you focus while you're running these ads?
The cost per sale or the cost per opt-in. Often people focus on the cost per click or the CTR. It's a secondary metric. Engagement, CTR, cost per click, doesn't equal a better cost per lead or a better cost per sale. You might have an audience where the cost per click is higher because it's a competitive audience that everyone is targeting, which means CPM costs get higher. But once people click, they convert better. Mm-hmm. So businesses live and die by the cost per sales or by the cost per lead. So they should focus on what generates the success of the business.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's definitely true. And I know that this is your, it's your job. You do this for a living. But would you suggest to people to do all this that you said by themselves, or would you suggest to hire an expert, or maybe just hire an expert at the beginning, learn, and then go on?
10 years ago, I used to follow a venture capitalist in Los Angeles, and he used to say, before you hire anyone to flip burgers, learn how to flip burgers yourself. I don't recommend that somebody necessarily go all full in and never hire anyone, but if they educate themselves, they try to do it themselves, then they could spot if they hire the wrong person, because this is a niche where there are so many courses that promise you're going to watch 5 videos, then you're going to become an expert and you're going to charge $10,000 per month. And I've seen people who paid thousands only to be burned out. Actually, I had a call with someone who was showing me the work somebody done for him. And I was like, if you could see my face now, I'm having a grimace on my face. I'm not sure if that's an English term. I'm saying my face is like,
yes.
Because he hired people. He's an addiction coach. He helped people who have alcohol, drug addiction. And they gave him Instagram picture with motivational quote on them about believing in yourself. Just because you're an addiction coach and you put that image on Instagram, nobody's going to hire you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's better that you educate yourself and know what it is. The other thing is, it's your business, it's your baby. I'd rather say, hey, please hire me. But when it's your business and your baby, you're going to be more patient. You're going to put more effort into making it work. Well, even those who have an experience often tend to be, if it's not already working, I don't want to take the risk of running ads for you, because sometimes it doesn't work because of market demand. Maybe your product is bad. Maybe you have a bad reputation and maybe you're a cosmetic surgeon, and when people Google you, they hear that you have a lawsuit against you. This I cannot control.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yes, an expert will take your money, but if you haven't had some success first, they're not going to have the same patience as somebody who's their baby.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that in the audience watching this interview, there are people that want to run ads for clients. So do basically what you did for ClickFunnels to Geyser. Do you have any advice to give to those people? Because I know that it's really difficult to start with a client. You don't know how to get paid, how much to get paid, since the client has to spend money for the ads. So what is the strategy of working with a client? How do you do this?
When it comes to get paid, I'm a non-believer in people saying you get paid, know your worth, because that's an investment. Mm-hmm. If somebody is investing 1 million and it could make them 1.5 million, it's a no-brainer because they'll end up richer after hiring me. If somebody is going to spend 200 and they're going to make 300, it's a big brainer if I charge more than $100. And I tell people who are getting started, prove your worth. Don't care about how much you get paid. Get someone some success. Learn as you do the job. As demand increase for you, increase your price. Then the question, like, how do you get started, become the question, what makes you unique? It's like, hey, maybe there's 10,000 people doing it. Maybe way too many people claim they know how to do it. Start with content. Mm-hmm. If you have content that people read and say, oh, that content is amazing, people are going to hire you at the end of the day. Because there are so many people who got burned out. I mean, let's say I'm a CEO consultant. We all got that email, hey, I shared your website and you don't appear on the first page of Google. Actually, it's a true story. It's someone who has an ice cream truck and people pitch him nonstop. Hey, I checked your Instagram. You don't have much followers. And he's like, who cares? I have a long line in front of my truck. That's what paid the bill, not the Instagram followers. Yeah. So focus on how you could get someone a good ROI on their ad spend. Right.
Yeah, totally. And then show your results to the new clients, that potential clients that will
share how you did it. Share how you did it. I tell people, if you want to check me out, here are many case studies. Read them. I share exactly how I did it. You could do it yourself and not even say thank you, and I don't mind it. And some people contact me, and I'm like, you know what? Don't hire someone, but read this article I read and do it yourself. I mean, there are cases, businesses, where say the money you're going to pay me, you better use it to run ad and get some result and get some data than hire me. Because not every business is made to hire a consultant. Whatever you pay your consultant, if you run some ad and your content is good and you offer real value, it's better value to show that value to more people than pay it to a consultant. Now, if you're a business that is growing and you're so busy and you're like, oh my God, I'm not even getting some sleep, I want to focus on other area of my business, sure, go hire a consultant.
That's great. All right, Sarah, thank you very much for
You're welcome.
All this information. And if people want to know more about you, where can they find you?
Sarah, with an H at the end, -sign, SAL.com. So Sarah -SAL.com. And at the bottom of my website, there is the LinkedIn and Facebook links.
Nice. All right. Thank you again for
You're
this
welcome.
interview. And guys, you watching this interview, if you liked, as I liked what Sarah said for this 30 minutes, well, share this interview wherever you want and spread the word. And Sarah, thanks again. I hope we're going to have another call maybe in the future, talking again about the Facebook ads or anything else.
Okay, perfect. Really happy. Have a nice evening. Bye.
And you.